Okay, Gantry Crane. That's what we're building today. So we got, let's see, caster wheels. Those are just gloves. Got some cut-off wheels and flap discs. This is going to be our cradle. We got some 2x6s, and then we got to go out to the shop and get 2x10s. Coming up. A few more videos. This is coming up.
Stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now.
I've been very fortunate that over the years I have collected a bunch of wood, and I am going to be able to use some of that on this project. I had some leftover 2x6s and 2x12s and 2x10s, and I'm actually starting to run out. I've used it for so many different projects, I'm starting to get low. So in this case, it's going to be repurposed for something I'm going to use quite a bit. So I think this crane is going to be a game changer in the shop. I'm using 2x6 8-foot dimensional lumber as my vertical posts. So what I'm going to do, instead of laminating them 3 in a row like I've seen on quite a few other plans, I'm actually going to make a column out of them, because I need the clearance for my chain hoist to hang in between my two 2x10s that are going to be carrying the main weight. So to get that spacing, I put the 2x6s of course beside each other, and then I sandwiched the other 2x6 widthwise at the end. And you'll see that when I get to assembling it, I will go ahead and use carpenter's glue and structural screws to put the whole thing together. So now the vertical posts are going together, and what I've done for structural support, the two outside 2x6s, I cut those down 9.5 inches, and that way I could set the 2x10s on top of those, and then they could be fastened directly to the sandwiched 2x6 on the end. So that gives me a really high shear load on the top of those 2x6s, and the screws at the top are mainly just to hold the beam together and in place, so it doesn't fall apart as I'm moving it around. Now I'm putting the wheels on the base. So the only thing I wanted to make sure with this is that I got the wheels far enough out to the edge that I didn't have an issue with the crane wanting to tip over if I tried to wheel it around. Now I am wheeling it on concrete, so that makes it a little bit easier, but I put them out as far as I could and used, again, structural screws to attach them to the bottom. This part was pretty sketchy. So here I'm standing up the 2x6s and putting them on a 2x8 base. And what I'm doing to get structure out of it is I'm going to stand this 2x6 on edge and screw it to the edge of the 2x8, and that'll give it some support to keep it from flexing. And then the post itself will be put in with structural screws through the bottom of the 2x8 and then vertically into the 2x6 as well. I decided to do it this way because if I was to just stand maybe two 2x6s on top of each other, I think I would get more of a twisting action in that base. And I definitely could be wrong, but this kind of made the most sense to me. And it also gave me a flat space to mount the casters on the bottom, which these casters are rated for 500 pounds each. I got them at Harbor Freight for like $6 a piece, so they're going to work out pretty good. I guess I should mention that the hoist I'm using is a half-ton or 1,000-pound hoist, so that's what this is built to. I'm not going to lift anything more than that with it. It's just really to move heavy things, as you're going to see in some upcoming videos. I use it to remove the engine out of the Bobcat, put the engine back in, and I even use it to lift up the back of my UTV for a little bit of maintenance. I made sure that I put diagonal bracing on the beams across the top. That way when I'm rolling it around, we don't get any type of lateral movement in the posts in relationship to those beams. And then on the bottom, same thing. The diagonal bracing is to keep the vertical post from moving independently from the base. I've moved this around with weight on it, and it seems to do just fine. The only thing I'll say is I went back and used the construction lags that are like Torx 30 bit and ran those into all of the diagonal bracing just to make sure I had enough strength to keep everything from twisting and moving. Here I'm welding up the carriage that's going to carry the chain hoist through the middle of the two beams, and I'm using 1.5 angle, and what I'm doing is I'm going to weld this 1-inch solid bar stock to the top, and that'll give me a place to hook the hoist with the hook attachment on the top of it, and that'll allow me to hopefully slide it back and forth. Now I know under a load it's not going to slide, but if I was to say I wanted to pick up on the right side or the left side of the crane, I could actually slide this hoist or slide the carriage to one side or the other, and it would allow me to pick up from that side specifically. Okay, you see we got the chain hoist here now, so we'll use that. We're going to try and pick up the engine of the Bobcat. And the last thing for this video is me putting this thing in action. So this is a Bobcat 863. This is a 4-cylinder Deutz engine, and it's actually still connected to the hydraulic pump assembly, and you can see that the crane lifts it with no problem. I actually set it down a couple different times to move the crane and pick it up, and it allows me to kind of move the engine out of the skid steer. So it had no trouble lifting it. I was pretty careful with it here at the beginning because still untested. I just didn't know how much weight it would handle. I think that assembly probably weighs 700 or 800 pounds from what I can see, but it didn't have any issues. I was able to move it around a little bit. So this is definitely going to be a really handy piece of equipment. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Hopefully my content keeps getting better and better. I still am in the growing pains phases of editing videos and seeing what people like. And like I said, hopefully it keeps getting better and you guys enjoy this. If you would like, comment, subscribe. I'll try to answer any comments that I get in the posts, or at least review them and try to edit my videos or my content according to that. So feel free to communicate with me, and you guys have a good afternoon. We'll see you on the next one.